all hell is breaking loose as the entire world is protesting the Trump regime. There you saw the people of Albania, 5 days in a row of protests, tens of thousands of people, and they are not playing around protesting Jared Kushner and Ivanka trying to seize control over a protected island in Albania and convert it into some weird billion-dollar Trumpenstein island for right-wing oligarchs. The people of Albania are not having it. You see how angry they are there. They're taking to the streets again today. They are not going to stop. Shout out to all the Albanians and shout out to all the people in Belgrade, all the people in Australia, elbows up in Canada. Across the world, we're seeing the people rise up against the Trump regime and what the Trump regime has turned the United States of America into. But it's not just at the power to the people level. We're now seeing leaders respond to the elbows up mentality, what you're seeing in Albania, the rage that people feel across the world. And you go country by country, people view the United States as a bigger adversary than some of the most hostile nations to them now. America is the number one adversary to most people across the world as a result of Donald Trump's behavior, and world leaders either recognize this or they get voted out. I just want to show you what's taken place in the past 24 to 48 hours, where you have Finland's president, Alexander Stubb, announcing, wouldn't it be lovely if Canada was the 29th state of the European Union rather than the 51st state of the United States? And Finnish President Stubb called for the EU enlargement. He sees how enraged the people are. He sees what the United States is doing to the world. Mid-powers need to unite, form their own superpower. The EU needs to enlarge. And Stubb says, come on, Canada, you should join the EU, or at least we should form some arrangement where you're basically adjacent to the EU. That's what we're seeing right now. He's also saying, how great would it be if UK and Norway and Iceland, Western Balkans. How about Turkey? Let's not forget about Turkey, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia. Let us unite everybody together right here and form our own superpower. If you're going to have China out there, if you're going to have Russia, if you're going to have the United States, let's make the EU bigger and more powerful. I mean, I read a little bit of Zelensky's open letter to Putin, but to me, the key language there also calls out the United States betrayal, calls out Donald Trump for promising to hand over Europe to Putin, right? When Putin visited Donald Trump in Anchorage in Alaska, you know what was promised? Donald Trump said to Putin, you can have all of Europe, give me Western Hemisphere and Greenland, and we'll give Xi Jinping all of Asia and Africa. And you could have some of Africa too, Russia. That's what Donald Trump was doing then. And here's what Zelensky said to Putin. We've heard that you were promised in Alaska the resolution of certain issues concerning Ukraine and Europe. But you can see for yourself that Ukrainian and European issues are not decided in Anchorage. Powerful words there indeed. You want to see the sentiment of what people are feeling in Greenland right now, especially after Marco Rubio, when he was testifying before the House and Senate, made a comment about taking over Greenland again. Here's what Orla Jolson, who's in Nuuk, had to say. During a hearing in the U.S. Congress, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked whether he was aware that Greenland is part of Denmark. His response was, for now. It's worth recalling a few basic facts. Greenland's future is for the Greenlandic people to decide in accordance with the 2009 Self-Government Act, which recognized the Greenlandic people's right to self-determination. That decision will not be made in Washington, but in Greenland. Until the Greenlandic people decide decide otherwise, Greenland remains part of the Kingdom of Denmark. This status is recognized under international law, where respect for national sovereignty and territorial integrity is among the most fundamental principles of the international order. Greenland is also part of NATO. Through the Kingdom of Denmark, the United States has maintained a significant military presence in Greenland for decades, and at one point operated up to 17 military bases and installations across Greenland under the 1951 Defense Agreement between Denmark and the United States, later updated through a 2004 agreement signed in Greenland by U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell. Denmark and Greenland, the United States, already have the ability to establish or reopen facilities in Greenland for cooperation here. There is therefore no security rationale that justifies discussion about American ownership of Greenland. The idea of purchasing territories or acquiring parts of sovereign countries belongs to another era. That is not how modern allies conduct themselves in the 21st century. If members of the U.S. administration believe that such statements enjoy broad support among the Greenlandic people, they are gravely mistaken. Political signals from Greenland have repeatedly shown that Greenlanders expect their right to determine their own future to be respected. Neither Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, nor any future American president should decide Greenland's future. That right belongs exclusively to the Greenlandic people in accordance with the Self-Government Act and the international principle of self-determination. Greenland's future belongs to the people of Greenland, not Washington, not any other capital. The decision belongs to the Greenlandic people and them alone, period. Meanwhile, you have the U.S. ambassador to Canada, this despicable human being who's despised in Canada, Pete Hoekstra, posted a message again reiterating, 51st state, and trying to terrorize and torture the people within the country where he is the ambassador. He kept on reposting 51st state commentary and talked about Greenland before. The U.S. ambassador to Denmark recently had to disguise himself as a Danish football fan at a carnival just to go outside without being spit on. This is what happens when your job description is steal our neighbor's island. Ken Howry can post all the deepening ties nonsense he wants on social media. Danes aren't stupid. You cannot simultaneously try to annex Greenland and expect to be invited to dinner. As Rasmus Jarlov posts, it is a lonely job being the U.S. ambassador to Denmark these days. Previous USA ambassadors were treated like rock stars. Now the ambassador to Denmark has to quite literally hide right now from people of Denmark because he's so despised and so hated. Going back to Pete Hoekstra for a second, the ambassador to Canada, he says, 51st state, that's a great discussion for Trump and Carney to have with respect to Kuzma renegotiations and review. That's the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. In other words, for the United States, we want to negotiate over the very existence of Canada as a country as part of a renegotiation of a free trade deal. No wonder people absolutely despise Trump and this regime, and you're seeing that anger percolate. I'll show you what what Wab Kinew, a premier in Canada, had to say of Manitoba. Here's what he had to say about the U.S. booze ban. He goes, no Kuzma, Canada-US-Mexico agreement, no boozma. Here, play this clip.
So our position will maintain, where we've been so far, the elbows up perspective. And our perspective here in Manitoba is no Kuzma, no boozma.
And here's what Prime Minister Carney of Canada had to say about Donald Trump and Pete Hoekstra making social media posts. At this point, the entire world is just treating the Trump regime like they are absolute clowns. Here's what Prime Minister Carney had to say. Play this clip.
The president is an exceptionally active user of social media. You probably can chart his usage of it. It's only gone up. in recent months, and we're not going to respond or react to everything that he posts. Thank you.
More from Prime Minister Carney right here as well. And as I noted before, Canada's saying, look, we're not going to buy as many F-35s as we said we were going to. We already ordered 18. We'll order 12 more, but we're going to go with the Swedish Gripens and go with the Saab Swedish planes, create more jobs in Canada, and they're more reliable. Also, you see Carney posting messages about meetings that he's having with Wang Yi, Canada meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, because there's more predictable and consistent relationships right there. And that was one of the messages from French President Emmanuel Macron this past week when he was holding an event called Choose France, about why businesses should invest in France and do business in France. He said the following. He goes, something you should never underestimate with Europe and France. We are extremely predictable. None of us change the rules overnight. There's no executive orders in Europe. Not a single person can change anything on their own. And that's what makes us strong. Here's what he had to say.
Investment, European preference, but something you should never underestimate with Europe and France. We are extremely predictable. None of us can change the rule overnight. There is no executive order in Europe, and not a single person could change everything on his own decision. But I think for all of you, it's super important. For some of you, in the short run, you can say, that's a pity because I would prefer I know you, so I want you to take an executive order. Okay, fine. It's good as long as we know each other. You are my friend. But it's never good. Predictability and rule of law are part of the stability and the attractiveness of mature markets.
Thereafter, France entered into a nuclear agreement with Norway, where Norway said it will join France's nuclear umbrella. And we're seeing a lot of countries join France's nuclear umbrella in Europe, like the UK, like Lithuania, and other countries as well. As that's playing out, we were talking yesterday, Donald Trump doing everything he can to try to suck up to Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump sent a delegation to the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. Trump and Putin talking about throwing a hockey match together as part of diplomacy between the United States and Russia. So while the United States is attacking NATO, telling NATO that it's going to be withdrawing weapons commitments to NATO, withdrawing troop commitments to NATO, while the United States says it won't give Tomahawks to Germany that were previously that were owed to Germany, that Germany paid for. The United States is out there trying to do hockey matches with Russia. You have Kirill Dmitriev of Russia announcing that the U.S. and Russia are planning on building a tunnel from Russia to Alaska, and that they're working on that together. Trump sent the guy who's helping him build the stupid Golden Ballroom to the St. Petersburg Economic Forum to show off the Golden Ballroom. And what's Russia doing in response? How's Russia showing its thanks? Well, Russia and Iran, as I noted yesterday, announced a $28 billion nuclear partnership with each other to help Iran develop its nuclear capabilities, while Donald Trump is claiming that he's going to remove all nuclear dust from Iran. You have Russia and Iran working $28 billion. At least that's what they're announcing, whether that number is just a fake Trump commitment type of number, but that's what they're talking about, to lean into nuclear developments in Iran. And so Donald Trump's letting that all happen with his weakness. And then, according to Bloomberg, the UK and France have pretty much completed formulating a plan to implement a mine-clearing operation in the Strait of Hormuz, following a potential deal between the United States and Iran on a lasting ceasefire. The plan would be a multinational effort and comes following more than a month of multilateral meetings led by both countries. Per the report, citing people familiar with the plan, the operation would include 15 countries committing military personnel and assets to the mission, and will maintain direct communications with Iran to de-conflict. Do you get what's happening there? So what all these countries are realizing, they realize Trump doesn't know what the hell he's doing and can't negotiate. So there's already been bilateral discussions between French President Emmanuel Macron and President Pezeshkian of Iran regarding this group of 15 to 40 countries that would help demine the Strait of Hormuz. Because one of the things that these other countries are trying to say to Donald Trump is, look, Iran's going to have to control the Strait of Hormuz. You lost the war at this point. And so you need to get out, Donald. We're ready to go in with an acknowledgement of Iran that we have this coalition that can help ensure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. So really, Donald, you just have to recognize symbolic sovereignty by Iran over the Strait of Hormuz. Then we can be there to provide basically a security guarantee to allow the ships to get out, to provide comfort, and to say if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz again, we can go in. We can have this blessed by Iran as well. And it's just because you have no clue what you're doing that we have to all unite and do this in the first place right now. And Donald Trump's just too dumb to even see what's going on here. And just look at how, again, these how the people in other countries are looking at us. Orla Jolson, for example, from Greenland, he posts what the White House looks like right now with the UFC arena in there. And then Jolson goes, USA, the whole world is laughing at your president. It's sad to see, as Xi Jinping is has announced he's taking a trip to North Korea right now as well. June 8th and June 9th. Yeah, so he'll be there early next week. First visit since 2019. Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un bragging about the nuclear weapons that he has right now every day. There you have it. Let me know what you think, everybody. A lot going on, but you see the world coalescing against the United States. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.